Sagittarius, the horizon called and you answered. You will find abundance right after trusting this impulse one more time. That sentence isn't a promise, it's a trajectory. And the reason it resonates now is because the future you've always moved toward is finally moving toward you. You've always been in full flight. Even in moments of rest, your arrow was already pointed at the next breakthrough. This moment doesn't require slowing down. It only asks for belief. You're standing exactly where the velocity of fortune has chosen to intersect your path. Sagittarius, this isn't a destination, this is liftoff. Your vision has become expansive enough to capture, honest enough to guide, and bold enough to manifest. There's no demand for caution. The signals are already in motion. A glance at your journey may reveal it, the sudden wild idea that felt immediately right, the spontaneous trip you said yes to, or the moment a piece of profound wisdom settled into your core. These aren't lucky breaks. These are the architecture of prosperity, beginning to respond to your faith. You're not planning the next expansion, you're already in it. There's a momentum gathering around you, and it matches your natural stride. You've always held this immense capacity. Now it's just visible on the horizon. Nothing small is about to happen because generous power is the way abundance moves when it trusts your trajectory. That is the frequency you're in now, and from here, the rest unfolds at a pace that feels joyful and true. You move, wealth accelerates. You learn, wealth grows. You expand, and it mirrors you back. Let this message fuel your next adventure. Let it confirm the undeniable truth you've been sensing. If this field speaks to you in any way, share it, speak it, drop a line below. I align with joyful expansion. That is a way to signal back to the current that your aim is steady, your spirit is ready, and your path is open. Because the next part of your financial unfolding is not a heavy haul. It's a continuation, and your arrow is already flying. Sagittarius, everything has already turned. This isn't about recognizing the shift. It's about launching fully into it. The system around you is no longer idle. It's listening, aligning, and choosing how to deliver through the exact current of belief you're holding now. From this point, we begin tracing the layers that are already unlocking fortune. Boldly but unmistakably, Sagittarius, this signal has been approaching for a while, clear, directional, and unwavering. You didn't need a signpost to feel it, a rush of clarity that recently swept through you. The quiet decision to book the next trip, or that recurring thought about a grand, impossible idea. All these are confirmations, not questions. They carry the exact frequency you've been holding beneath every leap of faith, beneath even the most focused learning. The shift didn't arrive from outside. It emerged because you kept moving toward the right truth long enough for the flow to build its own direction around you. You've never needed certainty to feel movement. You feel it through meaning. Through the way your body knows to pivot toward a new teacher, or the way you instinctively know when something is aligning, even before the philosophy arrives to explain it. That broad perspective has been tuning your field. The patterns, repeating themes, unexpected mentors, synchronicities, even forgotten dreams of world travel are not gentle nudges. They are the pulse of a system that has registered your sheer optimism. And because of that, a new architecture is beginning to shape around your presence. Your freedom creates gravity. That's how your field holds more now. Not because anything changed overnight, but because your energy stopped bending towards smallness. It aims, it directs, and it begins to draw profound structure toward it. This is the kind of wealth that builds visibly, accumulating around people who know how to teach without always needing to prove. Sagittarius, you've been holding that exact ability, and now everything around you is responding as if it has finally received its true north. This is the field responding to higher truth. Every spontaneous choice you've made from vision, not reaction, has been stacking into form. You didn't micromanage it, and you didn't try to shrink it. That's why it stayed. The signal didn't flash once and disappear. It continued because you remain open enough to hear it again and again. Wealth moves like that. It doesn't crawl. It tracks what is free, and you've been moving without resistance. You're no longer adjusting to surroundings that dull your adventurous spirit. Instead, everything in your space has begun aligning to your exact philosophical tone. When the current finds someone holding with broad certainty, it locks in. And that's what you're witnessing now. Not a test, not a pause, but the beginning of an expansive field, organizing itself around your natural rhythm. You didn't need to stay still for it. You became the velocity it returned to. Once your vision becomes clear, wealth begins to move on its own, without needing permission, without waiting for explanation. And now that deeper force is no longer seeking access. It is entering, settling, and taking its place. From here, a different kind of movement begins. One that does not ask to be explained. It asks to be lived. Sagittarius, your journey already sets the structure for wealth to gather. You've created a field that calls nothing small toward it, yet receives everything that aligns with the truth. Your rhythm is expansive, your aim unwavering. There is no need to announce anything. Your way of being carries the signal. Every moment you've held your belief steady. Even when things around you moved slowly, built a gravitational center that wealth now reads as home. You do not chase meaning. You become the point it naturally draws toward. And right now that pull is gaining weight, shape, and response. The momentum you've held is not absence. It is a vibration that signals readiness. It is not quiet from withholding, but from full expression. You have shown up long enough for the structure to begin forming itself around your values. Those values now carry density. Actions you took without seeking praise are now the same actions shaping financial foundation. Everything you did because it felt aligned with your highest ideal has become the blueprint that wealth is building upon. This isn't theory. This is the tangible result of energy meeting intention. Sagittarius, your clarity does not fluctuate. It expands. And that expansion is what creates resonance, the kind that lasts. You stand where alignment becomes visible. What others measure through caution, you measure through vision. What others reach for you, embody. And the field responds, because that is what it does when it encounters something this consistent. You are not signaling for recognition. Your very aim is the signal, and what forms around that kind of signal always holds longer. You have built a space that wealth trusts, not through control but through consistency of truth. Every expansive act, every decision made from core certainty, each freedom drawn from clarity, now stabilizes into form. The more you live from that space, the more wealth understands how to land. You are generating a pattern, subtle yet unmistakable. Conversations elevate. People align without needing prompting. Opportunities bend to your pace, and that pace is not slow, it is swift. This is not a shift that asks you to start over. This is where your current proves itself. The accumulation happening now responds to vision, not push. You are no longer preparing, you are maintaining velocity. And what you maintain with vision always grows. Every step you take from here deepens the imprint you've already created. You are not adapting, you are anchoring the truth. And from that anchor, flow expands. Sagittarius, this stage is not about slowing down. It is about confirmation. Every previous move aligned with your internal values now echoes with clarity. The space around you reflects what you stood for all along. You have created a zone where energy doesn't scatter, it focuses on the target. And in that focus, everything begins to materialize in form. This is how wealth enters. Not through striving, but through exact belief. Sagittarius, each action now begins at a place already held steady. You move, not because of pressure, but because the current has gathered enough clarity beneath your feet. A sudden flash of insight in your space, a grand reply sent at the right time, or even the way you broaden your attention, all of it forms a language that the field understands. These choices don't signal hesitation, they affirm rhythm. Nothing is being tested. Each gesture you complete carries the imprint of inner alignment already in motion. Movement now doesn't stretch you. It reinforces what you already know you're here to uphold. This is the time when conviction becomes a force of attraction. You stop measuring progress by reaction. Instead, you read it through how easily your actions meet the world without friction. The moment you repeat something with faith, the system around you stabilizes. You shift one element and others settle. not by command, but by recognition. Wealth responds to patterns that are lived in, not chased. And right now, your steps leave patterns behind firm enough to be followed by energy precise enough to create a path that does not fold under weight. Your rhythm, Sagittarius, is not something to defend. It's already functioning as a signal. The field around you listens best when you are honest and sure, and you've stayed sure long enough to become a center of gravity. This isn't a trial phase. This is what happens when your internal frequency is no longer just a feeling. It's structure. What once looked like a habit of questioning has evolved into a system that channels outcomes. Every repeat action holds a small charge, and together they amplify into momentum. The world doesn't have to confirm anything for it to be real. You've become the confirmation. There is no longer a difference between exploration and presence. You begin things at the exact point they are ready to carry weight. That readiness isn't loud. It shows up in how your body settles into the journey, and how quickly things fall into place once you touch them. A message you send is felt. A shift in tone elevates a room. Even what feels effortless is now operating at a higher fidelity. Your field is tuned, and wealth follows the clarity of a tuned field. That is the nature of this phase. You act not to provoke response, but to echo what's already aligning. Each hour spent in alignment is building a longer range of impact. There is precision now in how time moves with you. Instead of planning your next step based on what might happen, you let the next step emerge because you've made space for it. Your movement is functional, not frantic. Every choice you make holds the energy of a track already laid. This is how outcomes lock in. Not from force, but from stability, so consistent wealth begins to assume your presence as its home base. You don't follow movement. You generate direction. The tasks ahead do not ask you to stretch. They ask you to continue. What needs to be done is simple, but that simplicity carries power. Your calendar begins to mirror your values. Your workspace reflects the clarity you hold inside. Even your tone of voice becomes more measured, more exact. What once drained you now recharges you simply because the source behind your actions is pure. The structure you've created isn't only strong, it's alive. And everything that enters it now learns to move at your pace. This is how wealth recognizes readiness, not by size of action, but by depth of continuity. You've reached a point where your field no longer needs to push, it pulls. And what it pulls in is exact opportunities that match your discipline, rhythms that reinforce your structure, people who respond to the way you carry your own energy. The stream is not slow, it's steady. And in this steadiness, every part of your world begins to take form around what you've already claimed as true. Sagittarius, the inner aim has returned to you, and with it the quiet assurance that nothing escapes your field unless you choose for it to move. There is no longer a sense of being pulled in multiple directions, just a steady current consolidating everything into a single channel. The energy you used to expend on managing philosophical tension is now stabilizing the structure around you. You've allowed the undercurrents to realign, and now the system holds itself. Every surge that once leaked outward is folding back into center, forming a denser gravity that keeps your resources circulating within. Even in the smallest interactions, something has clicked. Where your body used to respond from defense, it now chooses motion. Where your mind used to prepare for weight, it now calculates direction. This isn't resistance, it's clarity. And within this clarity, the emotional field is finally structured. You are responding from presence, not anticipation. This kind of steadiness has a rhythm that welcomes flow. And wealth recognizes that rhythm as home. Each behavior that once came from impulse now comes from calibration. You pause, not from delay, but from precision. You hold a glance longer. You say less, but anchor more. And you walk into decisions already aligned from the inside out. These aren't new habits. They're old instincts retuned to the present. And because you're showing up in this tuned frequency, the leaks have ceased. There is now only conservation, accumulation, and directional flow. Sagittarius, you've entered the phase where your field seals what matters and lets go of the unnecessary without struggle. Even relationships are reflecting this clean filter. Only those who hold their own energy are matching yours. The emotional static that once caused hesitation has softened, and the absence of noise reveals structure. You are not seeking silence. You are holding it, and it is speaking back in signals of consistency. This is where wealth begins to build differently, not as influx, but as a structure that retains. And from this structure, a new sense of decision starts to emerge. The world responds to how you hold yourself. Now there's no more searching for what fits. You are standing in what already does. And when emotional alignment holds this firm, the physical field of wealth starts reshaping without external cues. You're reading timing now with precision. And with that timing, the next movement knows exactly where to arrive. Sagittarius, this moment arrives with quiet certainty. You have reached the line where wealth no longer appears as something distant. It now aligns as something already present. This is not a surface decision. It is the internal shift where your capacity to receive moves into full signal. When you say, "I am ready," you are not hoping. You are aiming. That signal reshapes the atmosphere around you. It invites every element to recognize the updated frequency you stand in. The flow has begun adjusting to meet you exactly where you are. There is a steadiness now that confirms itself. Each breath holds more weight because it lands into a field that's already prepared. There is nothing to wait for because you have chosen to see that the path exists now. In this quiet, old ideas about earning, proving, or postponing gently fall away. What remains is a clean direction, one that begins here and grows stronger with each choice that mirrors your worth. Presence speaks louder than any performance. When you walk with that knowing, movement becomes inevitable. Sagittarius, from this shift, you start recognizing how your choices refine. The things that once felt uncertain now reveal their shape. You begin choosing with clarity, not to prove, but to align. You are no longer navigating through questions of lack. You are choosing from a foundation of enough. That change in identity opens new channels without force. The wealth you once thought had to be found is now responding to who you have become. Every moment before this has brought value. Even delays carried design. You have taken silence and made it into a listening field. You have seen through the noise and found direction in the stillness. From that clarity, a new structure begins to form, one shaped less by striving and more by alignment. Each action now carries weight because it rises from a place already stable, and that is why the current responds. Your signal does not need to flare to be seen. It reveals itself in your stillness, in how you move without rush, in the way your decisions feel like home. As you stay present with each breath, the frequency adjusts around you. The path opens, the names return, the numbers line up. This is recognition. This is the echo of your readiness, Sagittarius. The way you repeat a sentence under your breath carries more weight than you think. Each time your voice affirms what already lives in you, the current strengthens. You are not calling wealth to arrive. You are standing in its presence, steadying its shape by letting your own become clearer. When you say it again quietly without effort, you are shaping the rhythm of your days to match a frequency that already flows through you. The more natural it feels to affirm, the more clearly the world responds in return. You are now speaking from within the current, not outside of it. This is where stability deepens. You are no longer chasing alignment. It is already underway. These are not declarations of desire, but confirmations of arrival. Every time you choose to repeat a truth you once questioned, you are turning that truth into structure. You are not trying to believe. You are anchoring into what already resonates. The repetition is not for the world to hear. It is for your own system to remember what safety, clarity, and groundedness feel like when abundance is already close. Sagittarius, the shift is not in volume. It is in alignment. The phrases you use, the words you whisper, the breaths you take between moments of silence, all of it becomes the infrastructure that wealth chooses to travel through. This is not about being louder. It is about being cleaner in your frequency. Each day you carry the same tone, the same posture, the same steady rhythm. You build a path that doesn't break under pressure. You are creating a space that doesn't require explanation, only presence. That is where the current finds its way to you. Everything starts to simplify. You reach less, you adjust less, you respond more. The mind quiets because the body now holds a memory of receiving. Your steps begin to echo that memory. Sure, calm, deliberate, this is what wealth prefers. Clarity without effort, rhythm without push. You are becoming the still surface it mirrors itself in. What once felt out of reach is now organizing itself around your pace, your tone, your internal certainty. And all of this begins with the phrases you say without hesitation. Phrases that no longer seek but confirm. Sagittarius, when your rhythm no longer skips but flows, the current of wealth begins to weave through everything you do. It adjusts to your breath, responds to your pace, and follows the track of each small affirmation you've chosen to trust. You are not requesting change, you are walking in it. And that is the true frequency of reception. Sagittarius, a recent action you took almost unnoticeable, has already begun to shift the rhythm of your space. A small rearrangement, a deliberate pause, a slower walk in the morning. All of these are now transmitting clear signals to the systems around you. When your body starts repeating a gesture with calmness, it doesn't just create comfort, it anchors a new frequency. You are creating pathways not with effort but with alignment. Each small decision is becoming a reliable current where wealth starts to circulate naturally. The body receives before the mind decides. For Sagittarius, this truth carries more weight than it does for others. Every glass of water held with intention, every moment you sit without distraction, every habit formed without external demand. These are not routine. These are blueprints. They show the energy field around you that you are available. Available for structure, for flow, for resources, to recognize your rhythm and join it. You are not asking for permission to receive. You are building the conditions for receiving to happen as a response. There is a quiet intelligence in repetition. When your morning begins with the same 3 movements, when your space stays clear without needing to be cleaned, when you close a drawer softly and keep it that way, the vibration around you steadies. Wealth responds to steadiness more than to speed. And this steadiness does not need to be explained. It is sensed, it is seen, it is followed. The more coherent your small actions become, the more your physical space reflects what you have already claimed internally. This coherence is not accidental. It is a pattern being tuned by you intuitively, attentively, without needing an audience. You are no longer translating wealth into words or hopes. You are moving like someone who carries it already. The table you wipe, the schedule you protect, the way you hold your breath before a task. These are living statements. They communicate without sound that you are not waiting, you are preparing. You are establishing conditions that allow abundance to rest, not pass through. The rhythm you maintain through these small actions holds real weight. Wealth recognizes homes before it chooses entry points. Your routines are becoming that home. This is the kind of stability that does not restrict, it invites. It is the kind of signal that does not shout. It vibrates steadily through time. Sagittarius, every layer of your physical behavior is aligning with what is ready to stay. And from here, nothing needs to chase. The flow begins to shape itself around what already holds form. Sagittarius, this is where your rhythm and the rhythm of wealth begin to match. You are not waiting on the edge anymore. You are already standing in the space you once tried to reach. Every choice you've made, every moment you stayed still when others rushed, has carved a path that now holds the current steady. The frequency you maintain is no longer something you chase. It is the quiet power you emit simply by being here fully. You have passed through the phase of seeking. What surrounds you now is the result of that stillness you've held without needing to prove. The shift has already anchored. This is the place where things begin to arrive because you are steady enough to let them. Nothing needs to be louder than it is. Your awareness is already doing the work. The structure around you responds to the tone you set. Deep, sure, and consistent. Everything about your environment starts to move differently when you become the center instead of the one circling the edges. Wealth recognizes direction, and you have given it one. That direction isn't about motion, it's about position. You hold your place with calm certainty. I'm already in the fields of wealth. That presence creates an opening wider than strategy ever could, and in that opening, what aligns with your frequency begins to land with ease. Sagittarius, there's no need to stretch beyond where you are. This field you stand in is active, it is alive. You are inside the movement now, not watching from the outside. Even when you say nothing, even when you move very little, wealth adjusts around your stillness. The pattern is set, the response is already underway, and every step you take from here keeps the rhythm intact, without strain, without disruption. If this current feels familiar, it's because you've sensed it building for some time. There's been no sharp turn, no sudden beginning, just a quiet continuation of what's already aligned within you. This current has recognized you, and it's been moving with you from the inside out. When a signal repeats, when a thought comes back, when something small starts to grow in your space, notice it. That's the rhythm of the wealth you've been calling in through your steady presence. Sagittarius, if any part of this flow feels like it mirrors you, you're free to claim it. Drop a comment and leave the sentence that fits your moment. Maybe it's something like, I'm already in the field of wealth. Or maybe it's another truth you've quietly held for years. Naming it is how you acknowledge the shift has already taken root. May you keep walking forward from right here, unhurried, untouched by pressure, guided by a steady sense of direction. May every choice you make echo the frequency that brought you to this point. And if one sentence from this space has landed in your chest, let it keep moving. Like it to anchor the moment. Share it with someone tuning in. Save it to revisit when the rhythm calls. Or subscribe so we can keep walking this wealth field together. That's how this field stays alive.